Hey everybody, this is AWO Comics. Anthony, Willie Moe, coming to you with another comic book breakdown on Friday night, Willie Moe.
Yep.
And we've got a good one this week. We're going to do a breakdown of Giant Size Spider-Man and Dracula. This is a book that we own, and I've read it numerous times, so I knew a little bit about it, but I went back and reread it before we did this breakdown, and I know you read it too. And we're going to get right into that right after this.
Whoop.
All right, comic fans, we are back here getting ready to do our comic book breakdown. Willie Moe, how was your week?
Week
at college
two
this
of week 2 of college has been great so far. I made a great grade on my quiz, and I'm excited to move on to week 3 of college. And it's coming up after 2 days, which is Saturday and Sunday. But I'm very excited for it.
You know, one thing you got lucky is that you got a nice little ride to school, which kind of lets you clear your head.
Yeah.
I don't have a long enough ride to work. I live like 5 minutes from work. I feel like if I had a longer ride, I could listen to a book or something and clear my head. But no, I'm still all foggy by the time I get to work. So I don't know.
I listen
what's
to
going
comedy
on.
videos for a good laugh.
Like the first hour of work is just useless for me.
Yeah, I'll be straight with you. On the way to college, I listen to comedy videos on the way to college. Try to get a good laugh for class. And
Well, don't get to laughing too hard. You don't want to run off the road. Or something. All right, so as we said in the opening, we got a pretty good comic this week, Giant Size Spider-Man #1, featuring Dracula. This is not a Spider-Man versus Dracula.
but it makes it
A
look
reprint
like it.
later on, I think, actually suggested it was, which not. There's nothing about Spider-Man versus Dracula in this book. It is a story that features. It's more like a Marvel team-up type story.
But
Even though they're
they're
not really
not.
teaming up, but they are both in the story. And this was the first of the giant-sized Spider-Mans that they started making. There was a Spider-Man Man-Thing, Spider-Man and the Fist of Shang Li. Is that his name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Kung Fu. And then there was another one.
Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi, yes. And then there was another one. I can't remember what the other one was. Maybe Human Torch. I don't remember. There was a Doc Samson in Spider-Man Giant Size too. So there was quite a few of these books. This was the first in the line. And normally these books featured an original story with a backup reprint story. But we're going to focus on the original story here. And we'll get started with that with our first splash page. And we'll put that up on the screen starting out.
Now, but I want to talk about before we start this story. This cover is so cool to me. It's horrifying, and it makes it. This is what's crazy about it. It makes it look like Spider-Man and Dracula are gonna fight each other.
Well, this is the reprint cover that you're talking about, and we'll put that up on the screen. We have the original cover we've shown. The reprint cover that you're talking about was done, it looks like, by Candelero and Madureira. I've never heard of any of these guys, but it is a cover that says Spider-Man versus Dracula on it, and it's reprinted the story from the original 1975 Giant Size Spider-Man #1. So, but the splash page is really cool. Spider-Man and Dracula together. It talks about Len Wein is the writer. Ross Andrew did the artwork on it. And Roy Thomas, of course, was editing at that time at Marvel Comics. This came out originally, I think, in around 1975. And it just shows pretty much Spider-Man on the splash page here. He is seeing a jewelry store, a light in a jewelry store, looking like he's thinking somebody has broke in. And he's pretty much just talking, looks like we've got a visitor here. I need to check this out, see what's going on. And then we go to the next page, and he sees that the window is open, And then he just slides in the window, and he doesn't really see anybody. But then his spider sense starts going off, and he dodges a punch from someone, and pretty much they begin fighting. And it's a shadowy figure that you don't really see.
Now, Spider-Man tries to throw out webs at him, and it clearly they didn't stick to him, which was weird. And he's like, if just you can't win this fight because you rubbed some grease on.
Right.
It's pretty funny. The guy smashes the case for like all the jewelry and stuff, and Spider-Man just backs up. It has to back up because of all the glass. And then at that time, the shadow figure jumps through the window and jumps out of the building. And while he's Spider-Man starts chasing him. But when he chases him, he slips on ice, which is just like
in 60
degree weather.
And then that's the last that we see of this guy in this issue. We don't know who this is. I'm sure it was picked up in a later issue, and you find out who it is. I don't know. Looking at this,
now, I don't
remember who this.
I want to guess it's some kind of supernatural, like vampire, or it's like some kind of supernatural. Because if there's ice, like we're in 60-degree weather, there's got to be something that's.
Well, it could just be somebody that used like a criminal that uses ice, like a Captain Cold from DC or something like that.
That's what I figured, but like, I don't know.
All right. Well, then after that, he realizes he has lost this guy after he slipped down, so he just decides he's going to hang it up for the night. Changes back to Peter Parker and decides he's going to go visit his aunt, and he finds out when he gets there that Anna Watson answers the door. And tells Peter that Aunt May is being visited by the doctor, that she has the flu. And Pete goes in, sees her, asks her how she's feeling. She says that she's doing okay. He makes a comment to show you the age of this book that she's going to have to quit playing football with Joe Namath. So Hall of Fame quarterback Joe Namath of the Jets. So he gets mentioned there. But she says she's fine. She got a little cold. And then, of course, she talks about Peter being so delicate, shouldn't worry himself, like Aunt May always does. And then we go to the next page, and Pete decides to leave, and he's crying as he's leaving, because he's upset. He's got tears coming out of his eyes.
And when Peter leaves, he goes down and talks to the doctor, and he basically asks, just give it to me straight. What's wrong with my aunt? And he goes, she's got the flu, but it's a different strand, strand of flu, and there's no vaccine that can cure it.
Right.
And doctor's basically telling Peter that there's like a vaccine's going to be needed or brought into the U.S.
Right.
for Aunt May to be cured. Like some kind of miracle's going to have to happen.
He's talking about it's reaching epidemic proportions, and that there is a vaccine.
But it's with AJ Maxfield. Maxfield.
Yes.
But she didn't want to fly to New York, so she's taking a boat.
And you kind of spoiled it right there because you said she, and we don't really know if it's a she or not to start with, but that's okay.
That's not fair. I can't help myself. What am I supposed to say? It?
You could have just lied and said he, because that makes us think that it's a he to start with, and everybody thinks it's a he. But anyway, AJ Maxfield is scared of flying, so he or they are taking a boat over to America, and they think that by the time they get there that Aunt May, like an older person like Aunt May, could succumb to the flu, that she could actually die. But
Peter's talking about how he's not going to let that happen, and he knows where to go and who to ask to where to get there.
And he says he's just the guy to do it, So he decides to take off and go to the Baxter Building, and hopefully he sees the Human Torch coming there. That is going to be there. He's praying that he is.
He goes in there and he sees Johnny's at a workbench or something, and Johnny's like, he's teasing him like, oh, look who's here. It's a main problem of like a headache.
And Spider-Man's not in a mood to kid around, and he says, Mister, you listen to me, or I'm going to pound you into the floor. And Johnny's kind of like, whoa, cool down a little bit, brother. You're a little too hyped up right now. And he said, I need transportation, and I need it fast.
And well, Human Torch is nice enough to show him that a spaceship or a ship, but basically it's like a flying.
It's
like
one that Reed just has built.
Yeah,
It's an automated flyer, pretty much.
And he basically make it like saying that if Reed finds out he's gonna kill him,
Yeah.
he's just better. But he's so nice that he's gonna let him back.
Super fast. It can get Spider-Man.
And he's turned the autopilot on it to
Right.
his location.
It's super fast. It can get Spider-Man halfway across around the world in like 45 minutes, you know. And this was after Spider-Man had explained his plight to the Human Torch, what was going on, you know. So anyway, he tells him, he says, you know, just you press the red button when he's ready. He had everything pre-programmed to where he wanted to go. And Spider-Man tells him he thanks him, and he tells him, Torch, he says, if there's anything ever he could do to let him know. And Torch says, yeah, get out of my life. And he says, boy, you really do have a mad on tonight, don't you? And then he tells him, if you want to let off steam, why don't you check out Faversham's on 47th and Park. You might find all the action there you need. And he's talking about the guy broke in. And I think we actually do find out who this guy is that we never saw again at the first in Marvel Team Up number 23. It says down here a little thing. If you think that's a subtle, come on, think again. Pick up Marvel Team Up number 23 if you can find it. And Torch actually said that he may do that. So Spider-Man blasts off, and he's going
to the ship.
Going to this ship where AJ Maxfield is at. And so he comes flying in, and you can take it from there, Will.
And he's flying towards it, and apparently that jet had got him there in 15 minutes, which is insane. It was speed, which
Yeah.
how do you make something that fast?
Yeah, yeah.
But apparently he's got like magnets in the ship to where he's just hovering above the ship.
Yeah, yeah.
And he basically presses a few buttons and activates the magnets, and then he jumps down and he lands on the ship.
Yeah.
So, and then he starts changing into his Peter Parker identity.
Well, and he says, you know, finding AJ Maxfield as Spider-Man would probably be a problem. So I guess he needs to track him as Peter. But actually, it was more of a job for Peter Parker. So he does change into Peter.
But at the same time, you see a bat coming to the ship, and we all know where this is going. It was Dracula coming to the ship. And what you learn is he's there on the same kind of mission that Spider-Man is.
Yeah.
But instead of just finding AJ and like asking for the vaccine, he's going to kill him or they,
Yeah.
and smash the vaccine or destroy the vaccine because it poses a threat to his future reign over the earth.
Yeah, he feels like that if the flu does take out a bunch of the population, it just can bring his reign faster toward what he's working
Yes,
for.
folks, Dracula is evil. Wow.
Well, so anyway, as he lands on the ship, he's thinking about all this stuff, and he sees Peter
And
there
he bumps
on the deck.
And I kid you not, he literally just bumps into Peter Parker on the way in the ship.
Yeah. And when they do, Pete says, "Oh, excuse me, mister." And Dracula replies with, "Dope, are you blind? Watch where you walk." And he says, Pete says, "Guess I was so wrapped up in my thoughts I didn't see where I was going, sorry." And he said, "Very well, but do not let it happen again." And Pete's thinking, man, what a grouch that guy is. And then Dracula's thinking, these fools are, what fools these mortals are.
I kid you not, I'm pretty sure this is the only interaction they have.
It really is. It's the only interaction between Spider-Man and Dracula in this book, which is very
insane.
So we go to the next page and we see a third party that's on the ship, and it is a guy by the name of The Whisperer, and he is there because he has been thrown out of the country, and he's trying to get back in, and he realizes that the only way he can get back in is to kidnap AJ Maxfield because they have this vaccine, and that's the only way they'll actually let him back in the country. And he was, I think, maybe a mob boss or something like that. But anyway, he was an ex-Mafia big shot. He tells these guys, he's getting them ready.
He's dressing them up for this masquerade they're having.
Says the only way they're going to let me back into the USA is if they're forced to, and trading them that vaccine for a passport and a pardon is just the kind of leverage that I need. So he sends these guys out there because they're having a masquerade ball on this ship. He sends these guys out that are dressed as band members with machine guns to go find the AJ Maxfield.
And meanwhile, after that, we see Dracula again, and he's walking up, and he's talking about how thirsty he is, or how hungry he is, and he's like, well, good thing there's a bunch of human cattle, and he's talking about humans, not actual cattle.
Right.
So he sees a woman standing on the end of the dock, and he's like, maybe I can get her on her own. And get her in, bring her.
He's thirsting for blood.
Yes, and he was trying to lure her in basically, and he was trying to get her, and then apparently this dude, she's talking about like this dude's in the corner, and he's like, "Hey, Mister, you're in my shot," and he's basically a cameraman for her, and Dracula didn't see him, so then he starts talking to him, and he's like. And this guy's like, dude, you got a really cool outfit because they don't know he's Dracula.
Right.
And they think it's just some outfit for the masquerade.
So he's wanting to get Dracula's picture.
And he takes his picture, but then he's just start talking about, don't worry, these cameras are practically take the pictures on their own. It'll be fine. He dusts it off and he sees, of course, he can't take pictures of Dracula's because they don't have reflections.
Right.
And so
he couldn't figure out why he wasn't in the picture.
Can you not put two and two together, though, right here?
Yeah.
I mean, this guy looks like Dracula, and then you just took his picture, and he's not even on the picture. Put two and two together here.
And then they turn around, and he was gone. They don't even know where he went.
And this is a part where Dracula just gets humiliated, basically.
Yeah. But anyway, he continues to walk down the ship's deck, and he runs into these band members. And they say, he says, "What? Who dares? Out of my way, fools, and let me pass." And they say, "No, we don't recognize you from the ship's roster, so we figure you might just be the guy we're looking for, and you ain't going nowhere till we find out for sure."
And keep in mind, Dracula's not wanting to kill anyone on this ship, but AJ himself themselves.
Yeah.
And he's trying to avoid killing all these people, and he's just telling them to get out of his way.
Yeah. So he tells them get out of his way, and they start shooting at him, and of course the bullets just go through him, and now he's ticked off. He tells them, "Face me and prepare to receive the fate you so justly deserve." And so he just pushes them real hard, and then he makes them look deep into his eyes, and
kind of like Ghost Rider's
paralyzes them with fear.
This is kind of like Ghost Rider's ability with his stare. Don't you agree?
Yeah, he just pretty much paralyzes them and puts them in like a trance, and they just walk overboard and fall into the ocean.
This marks the first two kills that Dracula has in this comic.
Yeah, they're never to be seen again as the two guys that walk into
Which
the
basically
ocean.
means he's drowned.
So then he continues to try to go down the deck to try to quench that thirst that he's having for blood, and he finds a lady by the name of Elvara Kaufman. And so he starts seducing her, and he puts her in a trance, and then he pretty much bites her. And as she screams,
and Peter overhears it, and he's like, AJ's gonna have to wait, and he starts rushing to the dock, or what was it? Where were they at? The deck.
On the deck. And as he's running up, she's already down on the deck, and he sees a bat flying away.
And he thinks he knows what it is, but he doesn't want to believe it.
He says, "What's this bat doing so far out from at sea?" And then he comes up on her and he sees the two holes in her neck, and he says, "Those marks on the neck, they look like, nah, I'm not gonna believe that,
Yeah, he has an idea what it is, and he's like, "I'm not believing that."
So he decides he better get her down to the ship's doctor and fast. So then we get to the next page, and he has took her down to the ship's doctor, and the captain has come down there, and he's asking him, well, I don't know what you're doing here, young man. I know all the passengers on the ship, and I don't know you. And he said, we can play 20 questions later, like after somebody has attended to this girl, Band-Aids, medicine, a doctor maybe. And the captain says, don't get smart with me. That doesn't affect your situation in the least. And then the doctors come in, or the doctor comes in, who they think is AJ Maxfield. And it is actually the two people that were talking to Dracula earlier that were making the pictures. And then they say, which one of you is the patient? And they said, neither of us. It's the girl on the cot who needs attention. Her breathing is shallow, and we're afraid she might not last until you arrive. And they said, Captain, I suggest you leave the diagnosis to those who know what they're doing. And then they turn around, and then there's some more of the men coming in from the Whisperer.
And the right-hand man.
With their guns, you know. And so then we get to the next page, and the doctor, who we think is the doctor, he charges at them, or he gets grabbed by one of the guys, and he says, the boss been looking for you, been waiting a long time to meet you, and chum, the boss don't like to be kept waiting. And
Peter wants to do something, but he can't reveal his identity in front of all those people, so he just acts like he backs off when he's pointing a gun at.
And then the girl that was with him, she comes up behind him, and she punches him with one of her shields, and he just backhands her and knocks her out. And then they take who they think is the doctor out of the room.
And then at that moment, Peter crawls out the window, the back window of the room, and climbs up the ship.
Yeah.
And while the captain, I don't know who the guy is. I think it's the captain.
It's the captain.
And he's looking down out of the window, and the text is like, if only the captain had looked up, and he would see Spider-Man running up the ship.
Yeah.
And
then we begin chapter 2 of this
This
story.
is a really good shot, in my opinion. This is a really well drawn page.
We got a second splash page here on chapter 2. Spider-Man's running up the side of the ship, trying to get to where those guys are taking the doctor.
How did he get that uniform on so fast?
Right. And then he decides he's got an idea on how to trap these guys, so he webs up every entrance of the ship.
And
so
then
they just have to keep going up.
It kept getting so bad to a point where the guy's just like, man, if this is it can't be who I'm thinking this is, right? And why would he be on this ship way out here?
They finally get to the top open deck of the ship, and they walk out, and they see Spider-Man, or what they think is Spider-Man. And so they say, okay, web slinger, you had your fun. Now turn around and face me. I want to see that this slug finishes you. And this guy's like, beg your pardon. And he starts screaming, I'm not Spider-Man. I'm not Spider-Man. Hold up. And they're like, well, if he's not Spider-Man, then who did the webs? And then all of a sudden we see the real Spider-Man come swinging in.
What is he swinging on?
Maybe he's swinging on like the pipe that comes out.
But anyway, you see this cool shot of him punching two guys, but he's kicking one dude and punching the other in a really cool page. And this guy starts shooting at him. He jumps over the bullet, starts teasing him with his
One of the
quips.
things that Marvel was so good at with Spider-Man and the way they drew him was the ability to draw how agile and fast he was. Even though you're seeing still pictures,
you could tell how fast he was.
You can see how athletic and super fast that he is just by the way that they drew him. I always thought that was one of the neater things.
And you see him doing this cool backflip. Like, here's an example. He's a backflip he's doing.
And you see the machine guns just whipping, right there.
Yeah, he breaks apart this machine gun.
Yeah.
On the last cover.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, dang, my machine gun's gone. What do I do now?
And it blew up in his hands, and it seared his face and his hands. And then Spider-Man jumps down, and the head guy, he's got the gun on the dock and says, if you make one more move, I'm going to blow him to
And
smithereens.
Spider-Man just says, shut that crap up, and just whips his arm to the dang side of the wall there.
Yeah, makes him drop his gun.
And then who you think is AJ is basically thanking Spider-Man for the save, and he's telling him get out of there and run away from the criminals.
And then the machine gun guy comes back, and he's shooting at him, and then he jumps down into one of the vent pipes there
And then comes up on the pipe right behind him.
Comes behind
and
him.
surprises him and then punches him in the mouth. Or in the nose.
Yeah, yeah. And he just kind of has his way with these guys, knocks them all out.
Basically, what a normal criminal for Spider-Man, mostly.
Yeah.
And basically, he finishes fighting all of them, knocks them all out, and then he goes and tries to find AJ again after he ran away.
Yeah. And so then we go back to the masquerade ball and see that Dracula has made his way inside of the ball there. And he's still looking for AJ.
This is basically this issue is basically just a race against time, basically, to find this guy.
And so as he's sitting there thinking about he'll find him possibly here, we see who we think is Dr. Maxfield come running in, and he's saying, "Help, please somebody help me. There's a bunch of maniacs aboard the ship." And then the crew is there, and they're saying, "Whoa, Doc, slow down a little. Slow down a little, party's just beginning." He says, slow down with all these gun-happy gorillas on my tail. And they're like, calm down, calm yourself, give us a chance to understand you. And then we see the Whisperer looking, and he's watching, and then Dracula's actually watching the Whisperer, and he says, most interesting, it appears this aging human and the godly costume cretins who accosted me earlier are connected somehow. And so...
basically, he's trying to tell, Whisperer walks up to him and starts like talking to him in his voice like he's real bad sick, and he's like, and who we think is Maxfield is wondering what's wrong with him, and he's telling him like he's hurt, like he's not feeling very well, and he's something he's ate, and he's like, all right, I'll bring you. And Maxfield's like, I'll bring you to the the room, the sick bay, whatever. And then they start walking to the sick bay. He's holding him up. Maxfield's holding him up, and he's just, Whisperer's just acting.
Yeah.
And you see in the corner that Dracula's trying to follow him and tail him.
Yeah.
And he's just following him. He's basically, and then all of a sudden, he gets put at gunpoint by the Whisperer's right-hand man.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's basically I don't know why you're tailing my boss, but it ends here, and just your walk is over.
Yeah. And so Dracula turns around and actually puts this guy in a trance again, and pretty much paralyzes him, and he sees his soul laid before him, and this guy starts seeing all kinds of terrible
basically
stuff.
like Scarecrow fear talks.
Yeah, yeah. And he just leaves him laying there. And then as they walk around the corner, Dracula gets close to him, and he says, "One moment, gentlemen, I believe I have business with you."
Mind you, though, this Dracula did not have to put like a hand on this dude.
Yeah.
That just shows you how powerful he was.
And the guy that he thinks is Maxfield turns around, and they've already met, and he says, "Oh, it's you." And he says, "Indeed, and you, and it seems are the one I've traveled so many miles to find. Dr. AJ Maxfield, I presume." And then the Whisperer says, "No, I'm the only one been looking for the Maxfield guy, but if you think you're going to take the doc away from me at this point, mister, you're just not going to live."
And it seems like he whips out a knife from the bottom of his sleeve.
And he tells him he's the best knife fighter in all the...
But this is Dracula you're fighting. Yeah. I'm sorry to tell you.
He stabs him. There's no blood. And he says, "There's no blood. I cut you good.
And basically, Dracula's just teased him. Like, he's like, "Why won't you die?" Whisper's like, "Why won't you die?" And he's like, "Because I don't want to."
Yeah.
And he's confused.
So he draws the knife back again and is going to stab him again. And Dracula just catches him and just engulfs him in his cape. And then once they see Dracula clears away from him,
I'm pretty sure he killed him right here.
The guy is dead. He's laying there. Yeah. Yeah.
And that marks his third kill of the night.
Yeah. And so then we go to the next page. He turns around. He says, "Now, Dr. Maxfield, the time has at last come for me to attend to the matter that brought me all this way." And the Maxfield guy's like, "No, please wait. You don't understand." He said, "But I do understand, perhaps more than you will ever know." And then he just takes him and he throws him over the ship and just laughs as he does that. Turns back into a bat and just flies off.
Why he didn't just kill him like he killed the Whisperer, I have no clue.
Yeah.
But why?
And so as he flies off, we switch back to Spider-Man, and he's like, so far no luck in tracking Maxfield down again. I feel like a peeping Peter peeking into portholes like this. He says, but since I doubt Maxfield will drop from the crowds like manna from heaven. My only hope is to, and then about that time, just as he said, drop from the clouds, Maxfield falls right on top of him because that's right the time Dracula throws him overboard and Spider-Man's coming by. And he's like, what in the name of? And then once he gets his senses, he grabs him. And as they're falling, he shoots his web right at the last second before they hit the
And it
icy
seems
waters.
Maxfield had fainted when he caught him.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know what's going on.
So he swings him back up onto the top deck, and where we see the head guy for the Whisperer still freaking out, telling everybody they're all monsters. Monsters, stay back. I'm warning you, come closer, and I'll shoot.
And Spider-Man basically is just telling him how he's finally gone nuts and starts teasing him, thinking he's in his right mind.
And then his web shooter jams up.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, if that had happened 10 seconds earlier, we'd be in the water right now.
Why? Another reason why organic webs are superior. But again, we're not talking about that. But then he basically just starts neutralizing this guy, punches him a few times, hits a mean combo on him. He basically punches him and knocks him out, basically.
Yeah. And at that time, you see who he thinks is Dr. Maxfield come running up. And he
starts trying to reason with him about the vaccine, like a trade for saving his life twice for the vaccine. And the guy's like, this is what I've been trying to tell you. I'm not Dr. Maxfield.
He's actually the ship's doctor, this guy is. And then you hear a voice says, of course, how could he be AJ Maxfield when I am? And he's, who? Oh, no, I don't believe it. And he says, you don't believe what, Spider-Man? Turns around, it's that girl that got knocked out earlier and had the picture made of her. And so Spider-Man pretty much just explains what's going on. And she says, well, forgive me, I never realized my little eccentricities could be indirectly responsible for anyone's death. Frankly, the thought of flying to New York still terrifies me, but if I would not be safe with Spider-Man, then who would she be safe with? And so he tells her to go change into some traveling clothes, that he has a ship. She comes back with the vaccine. They get aboard Reed's ship. And at that same time, we see Dracula returning to his coffin.
I feel bad for Dracula here because he's going to sleep, thinking he actually accomplished his mission, knowing.
And it even says one of the rare times that he ever failed in a mission. And we see in the last panel Spider-Man and Dr. Maxfield flying off to New York City to save Aunt May.
And that's where the comic ends there.
And
but
that's it.
If I was that doctor and I see Peter with that person with the vaccine, I'd be like, how?
Yeah.
How did you even do that?
Yeah. But it's just a really cool story, I thought. I would have liked to have seen a fight between Spider-Man and Dracula.
Yeah, especially when
their first meeting, and it kind of leaves you wanting for more.
I wish they had, at the very least, I wish they had more interactions in the comic. They had, one interaction where they bumped shoulders in the comic, and they never really...
But it kind of sets it up, and I don't know if they ever fought, but it does kind of set it up.
And
for
also,
them to fight later,
when he found that woman with the 2 holes in her neck, it kind of put an idea in his head that Dracula does exist a little bit, but he didn't believe it.
Right. Well, Willie Mo, that's been our comic breakdown for this week, and I really enjoyed it. Have you got anything else you want to talk about?
No, that's it for me. I'm done.
All right. Well, we will see you guys next time, and possibly we'll definitely see you later on this weekend with our comic pickups. We've got a lot of good pickups we're going to show you Sunday night into Monday morning when we do a video, me and Owen. And we will see you guys also again next week with another comic breakdown, and I'm going to let you pick the next one, Willie Mo.
All right.
Let me pick that one, so you can be thinking about which comic you want to do next. And folks, if you've got some suggestions that you want to see a breakdown, put it in the comments. We'll definitely take it under advisement. There is one that Night Tiger is wanting us to do, and we've got that one in the works. We're going to do that one. It's a shorter story, so we're going to do that one. Maybe a middle of the week video for that one because it won't take us as long to do it. But anyway, we hope everybody has a great rest of your weekend. Everybody be safe out there. Have fun. Don't get too hot. And as always, go Dogs. Football season is right around the corner.
Here we go.
See you guys.
Bye.